My fiancé said, "My best friend, who also happens to be my ex, is walking me down the aisle. If you loved me, you'd be okay with that." I said, "Got it." The next day, I called the venue, canceled every reservation, and sent her the invoice. "My name is Marcus. I'm 32, work in software development, and until 3 weeks ago, I was engaged to someone I thought I knew. Sarah and I had been together for 4 years. We met through mutual friends, and honestly, the first 3 years were perfect. She was funny, ambitious, supportive during my career transition, and we just clicked. I proposed last October at the beach where we had our first date. She cried, I cried, her parents cried when we told them. Everyone was thrilled. The problems started around January when wedding planning kicked into high gear. Sarah kept mentioning her best friend Marcus. Yes, same name as me, which made conversations confusing, who she'd known since college. She'd mentioned him before in passing, but suddenly, he was everywhere. Marcus this, Marcus that. Remember when Marcus and I did this thing in Barcelona? One night in early February, I asked her directly, "So what's the deal with you and him? You two dated, right?" She got defensive immediately. "That was a decade ago, babe. We were kids. We're just friends now. He knows me better than anyone." "Better than me?" I asked. "Different. He knows the old me." I didn't love that answer, but I let it go. Big mistake. Fast forward to March 15th. We're at her parents' house for Sunday dinner, and her mom asks about the father-daughter dance. Sarah's dad passed away when she was 16, so this was always going to be a sensitive topic. Sarah gets quiet, then says she's been thinking about it a lot. "I want Marcus to walk me down the aisle," she said. The table went silent. Her mom looked confused. Her sister Lisa's fork literally stopped halfway to her mouth. "Your friend Marcus?" her mom asked. "Yes, he's been there for me through everything. Dad would have loved him." I kept my voice steady. "That's usually a family role, Sarah. What about your Uncle Jim, or your mom could walk you?" "I want Marcus. This is my wedding, and he's the most important person in my life besides you. Besides me. Not after you or next to you. Besides." We drove home in silence. I was processing, trying to be understanding. Maybe this was grief. Maybe she needed this closure. That night in bed, I tried again. "Sarah, I need to understand this. Your ex-boyfriend walking you down the aisle sends a really specific message to everyone there." She sat up. "Are you serious right now?" "This is exactly what I was afraid of. You're jealous of a friendship. It's not just a friendship when he's taking the role of the most important man in your life at our wedding." "Oh my God." She actually laughed. "You're being so insecure." "Marcus is gay, by the way. He came out 2 years after we broke up. Is that better? Does that make you feel like a big, strong man now?" That felt like a slap. "This isn't about his sexuality, Sarah. It's about what this symbolizes. It symbolizes that I have people who love me unconditionally, not just when it's convenient for them." Her voice was ice cold now. "You know what? My best friend, who also happens to be my ex, is walking me down the aisle. If you loved me, you'd be okay with that." I stared at her for a long moment. Then I nodded. "Got it." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and went to sleep. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, March 16th, Sarah left for work at 7:30 like always. At 8:05, I called the venue. The coordinator, Jennifer, answered cheerfully. "Hi, Jennifer, this is Marcus Chen. I need to cancel our wedding reservation for August 12th. Long pause. Oh no. Is everything okay? Just need to cancel. What's the cancellation policy?" She walked me through it. We'd paid the 50% deposit, $12,000, which was non-refundable per the contract we'd signed, but canceling now meant we wouldn't owe the remaining balance. "I'll send the cancellation confirmation and final invoice today," Jennifer said quietly. "I'm really sorry, Marcus." Then I called the caterer, the florist, the photographer, the DJ, the cake designer. Each conversation was the same. Yes, I want to cancel. Yes, I understand the deposit is gone. Send me the final invoice. By noon, I had 6 invoices. Total damage, $28,000. Sarah had paid for her dress and the invitations, about $4,000 total. I'd covered everything else because I made more and frankly, I wanted to. I compiled every invoice into one PDF, wrote a simple email to Sarah with the subject line, "Wedding Cancellation Confirmation," attached the file, and hit send. Then I texted her, "Check your email when you have a minute." I packed a bag and drove to my buddy Jason's apartment. He opened the door, took one look at my face, and just said, "Beer's in the fridge." Update 1, Sarah called at 2:17 p.m. I didn't answer. She called 6 more times. Then the texts started. "What the hell did you do? Call me right now. You canceled our wedding? How could you do this without talking to me? Marcus, this is insane. You need to fix this immediately." At 5 p.m., I finally responded, "You told me your ex is the most important person in your life and should walk you down the aisle. I realized you're right. You should marry someone who's okay with that." "I'm not." "Since Marcus is walking you down the aisle anyway, I figured he should probably pay for the venue too. The invoice shows exactly what was canceled. You two can plan something more appropriate together." My phone rang instantly. I answered. "You petty, vindictive child," she was screaming. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I canceled a wedding that shouldn't happen. Because of who walks me down the aisle? You ended a 4-year relationship over that? No, Sarah. You ended it when you told me your ex-boyfriend's feelings matter more than your future husband's. I just made it official. He's gay, Marcus. How many times? I don't care if he's gay, straight, or from Mars. You prioritized his role in your wedding over my comfort as your groom. That told me everything. She started crying. "We can fix this. We can talk to someone. Please don't do this." "Are you willing to have someone else walk you down the aisle?" Silence. Long, heavy silence. "That's what I thought," I said, and hung up. Update 2. Sarah showed up at Jason's apartment at 11 p.m. Jason answered the door and told her I didn't want to see her. She shouted through the door that I was ruining both our lives over nothing, that everyone would think I was crazy, that her mother was hysterical. "Tell her to ask Marcus for comfort," I called out. "The other Marcus. He knows her best, apparently." She left after 20 minutes. The next day, March 17th, her sister Lisa texted me. "Can we talk?" "Just me and you. Coffee?" We met that afternoon. Lisa looked exhausted. "Marcus, I need you to know something," she started. "I love my sister, but she's wrong here. Dead wrong." "Okay?" "She called him last night. The other Marcus. Told him what happened, that you canceled everything." Lisa stirred her coffee without drinking it. "He told her he never agreed to walk her down the aisle. Said she mentioned it once, and he told her it was inappropriate, that it would disrespect you and your relationship. Sarah apparently decided to push it anyway, and figured he'd come around." I blinked. "He said no?" "He said absolutely not. He also said, and I'm quoting, 'Sarah, I love you, but you're being delusional. That man was going to be your husband. You don't do that to someone you actually love.'" Lisa finally looked at me. "He's not paying for anything, Marcus. He thinks she created this whole mess. Where does that leave her? 28,000 in the hole and no wedding." Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "Mom offered to pay half if Sarah apologized to you and you guys went to counseling. Sarah refused, said you should apologize to her." Update 3. A week passed. Mutual friends started reaching out. Most were supportive of me once they heard the actual story. A few thought I overreacted, that I should have just dealt with it for one day. On March 24th, Sarah's mom called me. Eleanor had always been kind to me, and losing her hurt almost as much as losing Sarah. "Marcus, honey, I'm not calling to change your mind," she said softly. "I'm calling to say I'm sorry. What Sarah did was selfish and cruel. and you deserved better. Her father would have been horrified by how she treated you. I couldn't speak for a moment. Thank you, Eleanor. That means everything. She's moving back home for a while. Lisa's helping her cancel the invitations. The other Marcus, the friend, apparently stopped speaking to her too. Said she used his sexuality as a shield for inappropriate behavior and he won't be part of it. I never wanted to blow up her whole life, I said. You didn't, sweetheart. She did that herself when she valued being right over being loved. Final update. It's been 3 weeks since I canceled the wedding. I moved my stuff out of our apartment while Sarah was at her mom's. Left my key on the counter with a note that said, I hope you find someone who loves you enough to let themselves disappear. I'm not that person. Jason's letting me stay with him until I find a new place. Work's been good, busy enough to distract me. I've been going to therapy, which helps. My therapist said something that stuck. Sometimes love isn't enough when someone fundamentally doesn't respect you. I don't hate Sarah. I think she genuinely didn't understand what she was asking or why it mattered. Maybe years of friendship with Marcus blurred the lines for her. Maybe grief over her dad made her cling to familiar comfort. I don't know. What I do know is that I couldn't marry someone who thought my feelings were negotiable, who thought if you loved me was a valid way to dismiss legitimate concerns, who prioritized symbolism for someone else over partnership with me. Last I heard, Sarah's talking to a therapist too. Lisa says she's slowly realizing what she lost, but it's too late. You can't unring that bell. The other Marcus, her friend, sent me a message last week. I'm sorry she dragged me into this. For what it's worth, you made the right call. She wasn't ready to be married. I thanked him. He seemed like a decent guy caught in an impossible situation. Some people think I'm petty for canceling everything the way I did. Maybe they're right. But I've spent enough years being the accommodating one, the understanding one, the one who swallows his pride for peace. Not this time.